You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio on ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guests. Checking in by phone on the bat line today will be Robert Mott on, well, we'll have to explain what Robert's doing in just a little bit. And David Meltzer will be checking in as well. I hope you will stay tuned for both of those intriguing conversations. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio, but today's celebration, it is very, very fitting because today is National Wine Day. Yeah, National Wine Day has a sister holiday, and I think it's called Wednesday. Actually, the sister holiday is National Drink Wine Day as opposed to just National Wine Day. We might have to ask Robert Mott what the difference is in those two because I'm not exactly sure how they vary, but it is what it is. Unbelievable. Stock market moving up again. Not a whole lot of reason for it to be moving up. We had that good housing report yesterday. But is that enough to make the market move the way it's been moving? Yeah, I got to wonder about that one. I'm not sure that that's going to be a sustainable growth. We are seeing strength in the oil market, but I'm going to share with you that I believe the strength in the oil market might be what they call a dead cat bounce. So we might be seeing this oil going up, trapping people into it, and then what's going to end up happening, it'll go back down, and the average person will just lose all their money. That's kind of the way it happens in many, many instances. It's a shame that that's what happens, but you know, I've shared with you many times, one of the things you have to really be careful of when you're looking at some of these issues is there are specialists out there all the time. These specialists spend all their time watching the market. And if you are not one of those specialists who are spending all of your time watching the market or a significant amount of your time watching the market, you can end up losing just because they know what they're doing. They're manipulating the market. When you've got millions and hundreds of millions of dollars and you're out there in the stock market, when you go and buy some of these stocks move. Think about this. Warren Buffett came out and said that he bought, 1 million shares of Apple. Apple stock skyrockets. Did anything change with the company other than the fact that there is a huge amount of people who do nothing but follow what Warren Buffett does? When he says he's buying something, they simply follow what he's doing. Now, they're already doing it when it's too late because he's already bought. And then they go in and they follow what he's doing, and the stock has already acted on the supply and demand theory. So Buffett makes more money because you're buying late, just the way it is. Now, if you're doing the same thing with oil right now, well, oil's going up. I shared with you yesterday that Saudi Arabia is having some financial problems. How do they make more money? Well, they make more money by selling more oil. When the oil goes up like this, they sell And then what's going to end up happening is they're going to glut the market at this high price. We're going to come out with a report probably in a couple of weeks. And I don't see these reports ahead of time, but I'm just going to share with you my suspicion is that report's going to come out saying there's a lot more inventory of oil out there than what's needed. And the price will fall, but you're going to get lulled into a sense of security of jumping into this market, and it may not be in your best interest. But I share the information with you. You do with it as you please. That's just all I can do is tell you about it. Moving right along. Yeah, Hillary Clinton is in the news again. The State Department audit. Interesting. The State Department. Now, you can't blame this on Republicans because the State Department is run by the Obama administration. That would not be a Republican administration. But the State Department audit has faulted Hillary Clinton and previous secretaries of state for poorly managing email and other computer information and slowly responding to new cybersecurity risks. And this is who we're looking at as a potential president of the United States. Now, if you can't run here's the question that I would have. Mrs. Clinton has already told us that she cannot run the economy. Her husband knows how to do that, so she's going to have her husband do that. Now we find out from the State Department that there are issues with her in the State Department. So no economy and no foreign affairs for Mrs. Clinton. Now we've already seen what her foreign affair experience is doing. Can you say Libya, Russia, Venezuela, Cuba? So we may not want that foreign affairs experience. We know what happens when she gets that 3 o'clock phone call. Yeah, that happened in Benghazi already. No, not yet, Mrs. Clinton. Don't come in here yet. So we know what happens there. Yet the people overwhelmingly seem to, in the Democrat Party, want Mrs. Clinton to take over for what we're seeing now. How are you feeling? 4 more years of the same. Is that what you're looking for? And again, she doesn't want to talk to us about it. Think about this one. Bernie Sanders even on her case. Because Bernie Sanders said, yes, Bernie Sanders said in 2016 what Hillary Clinton said in 2008. You got to debate. Any place, anytime, anywhere, we will chat. The people are entitled to that. That's what Hillary Clinton said in 2008 when she was running for president against President Obama. However, this is 2016, and something happened between 2008 when Mrs. Clinton made those comments and 2016 when she says to Bernie Sanders, I will not debate you. I guess when it's good for her, we do it. When it's not good for her, we don't do it. Can you say Clinton Foundation? Let's just sell the United States government for the highest bidder. That's kind of what we do when we've got the Clintons in office. We've seen that before. Why would we not think that we would see it again? Just a thought right there for you. Speaking of seeing it again, wow. Dana Point's ex-police chief, in a little bit of hot water, stayed 159 nights at a harbor hotel courtesy of an unauthorized county program. Dana Point's police chief. Holy cow, you know better than that. Yeah, you should know better than that. I don't think you're supposed to be doing that kind of thing. But staying in the hotel there, 159 nights, stays in the hotel. I think I'd like to. $35. Some of the other people that have done it, they pay as little as $35 a night. So think about $35 a night, 30 nights. That's about $1,000 a year. The hotel sells for, the rooms are generally between $100 and $350 a night. Yeah, not quite the prudent spending of money, not quite arm's length. The unauthorized program, which has been discontinued, cost the county as much as $62,000 during the past 6 years. Where is the money coming from? But that is the chief over there, so we'll see where we go with that one. See if that gets any more traction other than right here on Ron Siegel Radio. We got a lot to cover today. There's an interesting story that we're going to talk about. Zillow's CEO used the Zestimate, but I'm not sure he was happy with his Zillow estimate. We're going to talk about that. Sell now before competition hits the market. How to spot a student loan scam. Phil Mickelson, the investor. We're going to talk about that. 4 things workers need to know about the new overtime rules. All that and more. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Remember to reach us anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, 400,000 people have watched replays this month alone. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
What if your family business could help clothe a less fortunate family? Or your restaurant could feed truly hungry people? What if you could help to comfort the lonely? Plant sustainable resources where nothing has ever grown before? Or make a child's lifelong wish come true? What if all you had to do was simply do nothing more than what your business already does every day? Would you do it? Introducing Processing for a Cause, a unique program that turns a percentage of your business's credit card volume into ongoing donation dollars for nonprofit organizations and foundations. Simply switch your credit card processing provider to Processing for a Cause and begin supporting a worthy cause today. The process is simple, and the cause will change lives forever. Processing for a Cause.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. How to spot a student loan scam is the subject of the Your Credit Matters segment today. Brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. Student loan scams. It's fairly common. It is something that we share all the time. One of the easiest ways to tell is if it sounds too good to be true, maybe it is. Scam number one, they make too good to be true promises. Again, you got to remember that the debt forgiveness of a student loan was taken away during the Bush administration. If they're telling you that it is not part of that or that it can be forgiven later in bankruptcy, well, it's probably not true. It's probably a scam. It's not going to do you any good. If their logo or name seems oddly familiar, a lot of times companies will try and just change something just a slight amount to make it look like it's a student loan. I suggest checking with the Better Business Bureau for reviews of any company before working with them, since many scammers may try to use the likeliness of well-known companies confusing you, but others might have been taken advantage of in the past. Scam sign number 3, they ask for upfront fees. Be very, very careful whenever you're looking at upfront fees. That's a serious item. In many instances, it's a flag, a red flag. And if they ask you to wire it or prepaid card, big time red flag. Be careful. Run, don't walk. That is the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. Red wine means it is time for our Wednesday chat with Robert Mott. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Ron. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful on this National Wine Day. And I don't know if you heard at the top of the broadcast, I was referencing the fact that today, if anybody's listening live, May 25th, National Wine Day, and there's a sister holiday in February, and I'm not sure, there might be some little idiosyncrasies here. In February, we have National Drink Wine Day. And I think that National Drink Wine Day should be just referred to as Wednesday. Your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly.
Seems pretty simple there. I mean, you got to observe National Wine Day every day, don't you think?
I think it's a good day to recognize, like you say, every day. There's no good reason at all not to drink wine every day or recognize it as a wine day.
So that goes back to our premise here on Ron Siegel Radio: is every day is a good day to celebrate. But unfortunately, we've got a Napa pioneer that maybe we can celebrate his life's work, but not a celebration. Talk about that a little bit.
Exactly. This last Sunday, Donn Chappellet, who is founder of Napa Valley Chappellet Winery, he died this last Sunday. Certainly one of the early pioneers into Napa Valley. I'd say he may not be as famous as Robert Mondavi, but he certainly carried just about as much weight in the Napa Valley as he did. He was born in Los Angeles, attended Pomona College, and like most people who got into the wine business in the mid to late 60s, he was struck it big in another industry. So he founded Interstate United Corporation in 1954, which was a distributor of coffee vending machines. And then after about 14 years and 7,000 employees, he sold all his shares in the company and relocated to Napa Valley and actually bought property on what now is called Pritchard Hill, which is actually atop of Sage Canyon Road, technically in St. Helena. I guess Charles Pritchard had originally owned the property. So after he and his family were really into Cabernets. They were into collecting Bordeaux wines as well, and so it was always their dream to make great Cabernet or great Bordeaux style wine. Today they produce somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 cases of wine. The interesting thing that Donn Chappellet did with Pritchard Hill was, instead of trying to get it declared an American viticultural area, an AVA, what he did is he copyrighted Pritchard Hill. Now, Pritchard Hill has become a very exclusive area for wine production. Bryant family, Colgan, Continuum, David Arthur are a few of the ones that also make wines there. Many of these are considered to be very high-end, rare cult wines. And also, he's had a I guess, a revolving door, even though it's not a revolving door, but in terms of time, but of winemakers who are extremely notable. He has Philip Carollo Titus, as he's been there since 1990. He had Helen Turley there, Mia Klein, Kathy Corazon, Tony Soder were previous winemakers as well. Certainly some of the real big-time winemakers in Napa. But, I think the thing to celebrate there is, like I said, he was one of the Napa pioneers. He's one of the reasons that there are so many great wineries there in Napa Valley today, and that we're so fortunate to be living in the same state as the producers there. He has his wife's still with us. So is his sister. He has 6 kids, and I know at least a couple of them are active in the wine business as well, because I've actually spoken to them at a couple of the wine auctions in previous years. But certainly a great family, very much a family that's given back to Napa Valley in terms of charity work, in terms of helping other wineries get established. Just certainly a great family and really nice people, and we'll certainly Mr. Chappellet will certainly be missed.
Absolutely, and that brings new meaning to one of the comments I make frequently on social media. He really brings new meaning to it. As I frequently will say, I drink coffee all the way until it's time for wine. Well, he was in the coffee business until it was time for wine.
Exactly. So he did it exactly like you work every day.
Exactly. Makes a lot of sense. Now, I got a question that comes in a lot, and it's something that I know you and I have talked about it, but I'm a little slow. I'm a simple guy. The difference between a grape variety and a varietal. Can you help me with that again?
Very good question, Ron. And certainly, it's an easy way for you to cement your reputation as a wine snob, is to know those backwards and forwards. It's also an easy way to make your wine drinking friends not like you very much when you correct them. So here goes. A variety refers to a type of grape, like Pinot Noir grapes, Chardonnay grapes, Syrah grapes, Cabernet Sauvignon grapes. Those are varieties of grapes. A varietal is a wine that's made from one grape variety. So in essence, if you have a bottle of Pinot Noir that is 100% Pinot Noir, it actually is a varietal. So that's the varietal of wine in there. Likewise, the Chardonnay and Syrah, made from one grape variety. Now, one thing to remember is it's legal, certainly, to label your bottle of wine here in the United States a certain variety, looks like a varietal. It may say Cabernet Sauvignon on it, but it doesn't have to be more than 75% to be labeled that way. So remember that varietal actually refers to the 100% pure vinified wine resulting from a variety of a grape. So it's kind of the easy way to keep track of it. But not if it says Cabernet Sauvignon or it says Merlot on the label, it is not necessarily a varietal. It is just the predominant varietal in the wine. Does that make sense?
Sort of, yeah. But how would what's the label going to say when it is a Merlot varietal?
Well, if you dig deep enough, some labels actually have the breakdown of the different grape varietals that are the wine varietals that are in the blend. So sometimes it will say it's 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, or sometimes it will say it's 100% Merlot or 100% Chardonnay. Sometimes you have to refer to the text sheets from their websites to figure this out as well. So it's not something that's necessarily always obvious. I think the main thing is is that people tend to mix up variety and varietal quite often, and I think the main thing is to remember is that varietal is the wine and variety is the grape. Okay,
perfect. So then we can go to the next step of this labeling and understanding. What does the word Cuvee mean?
Cuvee actually refers to a blend of grape varietals or wine varietals, and that's it's kind of a loose term. It really doesn't have any real legal meaning on a label, but it generally refers to the fact that it's a blend of grape varietals or wine varietals in there. So typically when you see a cuvee, it will almost always be a red wine, not completely 100%, but almost always. And sometimes it will be also used in reference to a champagne as well, where it refers to the first pressed and most desired juice. But outside of champagnes, Cuvee really is a blend of wine. So more than one grape variety in it. And like I say, many times it's a round red wine. And other synonyms that could be used other than Cuvee might be, if you want to refer to the Old English reference to Bordeaux, it would be a claret, perhaps, or a Bordeaux-style blend, or something along those lines. It's kind of a fancy kind of marketing-related word that is many times used on the label to describe that blend and indicate a wine, hopefully of superior quality. It's something that, again, it doesn't really have any legal meaning, but it does have a marketing implication.
So I can actually sound like I know what I'm talking about. So I'll just refer to my Cuvee, and because usually I like the reds, and that seems to be good for me. But great information, as always. Thank you for sharing, Robert Mott. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, David Meltzer checks in. What does he have on his mind with regard to this Phil Mickelson settlement? We're going to chat about that. Sell now before competition hits the market, and things you need to know about the new overtime rules. All that and more. You can reach us anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, over 400,000 people have already checked out the replays. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. 400,000 of you this month. Thank you. We'll be back in just a few.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL lendingteam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Are you ready to overcome your biggest blocks with money and time? Your solution? Big Profits Now World Summit. The best skills and strategies to double and triple your business profits without doubling or tripling the work. This summit has gathered 24 experts specializing in business growth. It's a free online event that's happening now. Go immediately to claim your free ticket at BigProfitsNowLive.com. Enter your name and email and receive these free video interviews directly to your inbox. Again, that's BigProfitsNowLive.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 0186945.
37% of American homeowners believe they have over 20% equity in their homes. Fannie Mae tells us 69% of American homeowners have over 20% equity in their homes. Fully 1 in 3 American homeowners are not informed about the amount of equity they have in their homes. Are you one of them? How might this be holding you back from achieving your goals? Text RSR CMA to 79564 to get a property valuation from one of the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Again, to know how much your home is really worth, simply text RSR CMA to 79564.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today being brought to you by VIP Mortgage. When you are ready for that mortgage, VIP has the programs ready for you. 4 things you need to know about the new overtime rules, that executive orders going in from Washington, D.C. once again. So here are the overtime rules affecting 4.2 million workers becoming eligible for overtime pay in a move, well, the way the government puts it, it's meant to correct a decades-long trend of declining overtime pay for American workers. So here are the issues. The salary cap for overtime pay is going to be doubled, going from $23,660 to $47,476. First increase since 2004. Many workers, they're going to get a raise so that the employers don't have to pay overtime. Raise on one hand, no overtime on the other. It's a trade-off. But I'm going to share with you that I think what's going to actually end up happening is workers' hours are going to be cut. The businesses will convert people to hourly, cut their hours so they don't have to pay for the overtime. They don't have to pay for benefits, health insurance, the Unaffordable Care Act. New regulations do not solve workers' problems. The government cannot legislate. They try and control everything from above. We're seeing what's happening in Venezuela when that happens. Hopefully we don't have to go that far in America to learn that the government can't solve our problems for us. It's about us. And now instead of working 40 hours, maybe 45 with a little overtime, you can have 2 25-hour jobs, make less money, and still no overtime. Just where we're heading. That's the Word on Wealth segment, again brought to you by VIP Mortgage. It is time for the coach. David Meltzer's on the line with us, our business of sports guru. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Ron. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I hope you are doing well. Running all over the world talking about the business of sports. I saw a couple stories that I'm glad you had time to jump in and chat with us. Gambling back into sports, and now the SEC and Phil Mickelson. Tell us what's going on. Give us some of your thoughts there.
You know, it all happened about a year ago at the U.S. Open, and, you know, it's just such a shame to be a public figure, let alone an athlete, where if there's any suspicion that you may be involved in something, and that suspicion could be something as simple as just being related to or around a circumstance that's under investigation, unfortunately, our press gets a hold of that, and, you know, poor Phil... I'm on the record as last year saying, you know, poor Phil got thrown under the bus. What he's doing, and you know, it's almost like you're guilty before proven innocent. And people are talking last year about these SEC violations and Phil being an insider trader and all this stuff. And now he's been deemed to be innocent. No charges will even be brought, but yet. That news is not on ESPN every day. It's not before the golf tournament. And so 90% of the people out there still think that Phil is some sort of, insider trader. And it's a shame how that happens.
It is a shame. And, you know, one of the bad parts about the whole story from what I know of it, and I certainly don't have the inside scoop as much as you do, but and I guess I shouldn't even say inside scoop, but I mean, it gets to the point of being where the man is having a conversation with another man, and all of a sudden, you know, he doesn't know that the guy apparently the person he was speaking to is under severe investigation. And just for having a conversation, it's almost like guilt by association, at least in the minds of the media.
Yeah, it happens all the time, especially to the gracious athletes that open themselves up to talking to their fans and being friendly. And, it's not like they can afford to have a background check on everybody that they speak with, but it, raises the profile and the awareness of wrongdoing, and it's great publicity for the IRS, the SEC, and all of these organizations when they're able to tie in, a public figure. And unfortunately, it's not just their brand that gets damaged. You know how much money it costs to hire lawyers and to defend yourself so that they don't make a mistake and end up trumping up charges or indicting Phil Mickelson just because he doesn't take it seriously. So I imagine he paid over 7 figures in just legal fees trying to clear his name, and it's just a no-win situation for the athlete or the celebrity.
I'm sure glad that with the way this all turned out, I mean, obviously you're 100% correct with them. They're tried and you get all the big headlines for the suspicion, but you don't get the headlines for the exoneration. And I'm glad that he was honest and straightforward, and we didn't go through a Martha Stewart, because she never got convicted of insider trading. Hers was basically lying to the authorities. And I'm sure glad that he was at least learned from that and smart enough not to go down that same path.
Right, and that's kind of what they tried to get Barry Bonds on and several other athletes in the PED and the steroid situation. Wasn't necessarily that they did steroids, it's that they lied to the government. And, and I understand the government's position that if they can leverage the publicity behind a celebrity, they can raise awareness that will deter people from doing these things. So I know with Martha Stewart, that's the classic case study of the government utilizing a celebrity like her when everybody, it was running rampant, these illegal trades and insider trading, that people gave it a second thought saying, oh my gosh, if they went after Martha Stewart, they'll go after anybody. I better not do this. And so it's kind of that broken window theory that if we keep all the windows unbroken, nobody will break one. But if we see one publicly broken, more people will break the window. And unfortunately, it puts, once again, the celebrity and athlete in a difficult position because of the media.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you got to be careful of those media guys. I mean, I guess I better be careful saying that every day on being on ESPN every morning. I guess that poses a problem there. But in any event, we move on. 2 big flops. It's kind of in the news right now, and I'm kind of branding that myself. What may be a big flop, Golden State Warriors win 73 games, and they forgot about the 16 that they need to win a championship on one hand. And then, boy, you watch the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think that they need to go. I wonder if they have gymnastics pads out there for their practices the way they've flopped so much. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think they're 2 different stories. And one is Golden State, that I was concerned that they beat themselves up and wore themselves out trying to beat the Bulls record with the 73 victories. And I think that our boy Steph Curry is not 100%. And as I watched last night, his quickness is not up to par. His shots are not as accurate. And I feel as if, that knee may not be as stable or even have recovered from the injury. And those injuries occur from too much stress, which means playing too hard for too long in that long season. Everybody needs a break. Now, the Cavs came in the opposite. It seemed like to me that they came into the playoffs really ready, that they paced themselves through the season. And unfortunately, it seems like that they may have gotten their number called and that they just cannot match up right now. And what seemed to be a 4-0 sweep has now turned into a serious concern for the Cavaliers, even just to make the finals. And it would be really interesting for the NBA if both the Warriors and the Cavs did not make the finals, and you have a Toronto finals against the Thunder. TV and the NBA would not like that. So watch the officiating in these next few games to see if the old NBA doesn't have the quick whistles to help assist the final that they want.
And that's an interesting point also, because obviously the Lakers' demise was based on the NBA, in my opinion. David Stern really helped kill that, and now maybe they're paying the piper for that issue. One of the questions that I would have for you, though, it's kind of interesting as you bring up the idea of Golden State wanting to beat the Bulls' record, obviously the tie there being Steve Kerr. And I don't know why they haven't watched, or maybe he hasn't learned the lesson that Greg Popovich seems to be very, very proficient at, realizing that the regular season is not the important season, and Pop has really made a career out of doing the right things. You think that Kerr might realize that now?
Yeah, I think he should have already learned that lesson from Pop, because no one else is a master of not only sitting guys down in games that don't seem to be quite important during the regular season, but just resting his older players. And I think that playing for Pop is why Tim Duncan's career has been prolonged and his efficiency has been so high, because Pop is a guy who looks at the long term and understands that it may be nice to hold shooting records and assist records and win records, but there's really only one thing that matters as time goes by, and that's those rings. And Pop's done the best job with the least amount of talent of any coach I've seen. If you look at the dynasties, it always can be argued that anybody could coach those guys and win the championship, right? The Lakers, the Bulls, even the Warriors last year, and the Miami Heat with their big three, and the Celtics with their big three. But I can honestly say, I think in all the championships that San Antonio won, the coach played a major role, and I'm not so sure any other coach could have won with the players. Even the Zen Master could have won with the players that Pop won with.
He's been amazing, and I hope that he gets, even though he's in a smaller market, I hope he gets the recognition and longevity. I'm just looking at his 5 times NBA champion going from 1999 to 2014. Even Phil had to take breaks in between those different championships and that grind of professional sports. So it's been very, very fun watching, even though I don't always root for him just because I'm a lifelong Laker fan. But boy, from the standpoint of superiority in your craft, you got to look at Pop and say what a master he's been. We appreciate you checking in, David Meltzer. I know you got to run to the next events, but thanks for checking in. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. David Meltzer, Sports One Marketing. Follow him, D Meltzer, on Twitter. Got some great content that he's sharing all the time. When we come back, sell now before competition hits the market. What's happening with the CEO of Zillow? You can reach us anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1, Ron Siegel the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Isn't it time you found out the truth about FHA insured home equity conversion? No, it's not your grandfather's reverse mortgage. This just may be the finest financial planning strategy available for all homeowners of retirement age. Helping protect what you've earned is the job of your board of directors with continued education. Major research has shown that using a HECM will significantly enhance the success rate of a retiree's portfolio and legacy. Please allow us to educate. For your complimentary consultation, call Jay Kaplan at 949-300-3855. That's 949-300-3855.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or simply call 800-306-1990.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRE NMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
United States University is perfect for working adults, international, transfer, and military students. Enroll now. Obtén todo lo que quieras en la vida. Call pound 250 and say United States University. Marca 250 y menciona United States University.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text PEAR, Professional Equity Analysis Review, to 79564. PEAR to 79564. One of the real estate professionals will reach out to you, and I'm going to tell you why in just a minute, that you do not want one of those automated reports. It's about as plain. This is like about as plain as you can ever get. Why those automated reports that you're seeing now popping up on social media and from certain realtors, they put it in their signature line. Get the value of your house. Click here, and it's an automated report, and it's worthless. And I'm going to tell you specifically why in just a minute. But here's the question today, or the comment today: sell now before competition hits the market. We were referencing the Pulseonomics report, the home price expectation survey released last week, and they asked the question of 100-plus economists, real estate experts, and investment and market strategists. In your opinion, what is the primary driver of recent home value growth in the U.S.? The top 4 reasons given by those surveyed: 50% said low inventory, 20% said low mortgage rates, 17% said wage and job growth, 4% said high demand. So as I have been stating previously, the current lack of inventory in most housing markets has caused home appreciation to increase at greater percentages than historical average. What this means is that it is a great time to sell your home as supply is low and demand is high. However, things may be about to change. The fortuitous situation sellers see themselves in may soon change for 3 reasons. 1, as more homeowners realize their equity situation has dramatically improved over the last 4 years, they're going to be more likely to put their homes on the market. Guess we've talked about that one before. With the residential real estate sector outperforming a sluggish economy, more home builders will be looking to add new construction inventory to a depleted supply of housing. We saw that in yesterday's report. Many banks are now just foreclosing on loans that have been delinquent since the housing bust. These houses will also be coming to the market. According to Darren Bloomquist, Senior Vice President of Realty Track, in the Q2 2016 U.S. residential property vacancy in zombie forecast report. I'll quote him. Lenders have been taking advantage of the strong seller's market to dispose of lingering foreclosure inventory, unquote. In most housing markets, don't wait for this additional competition to hit the market. If you're considering selling your house, now might be the time. And I will suggest to you, as I have before, many folks don't know where to go to find a great real estate professional. It's not the person that puts the most signs out in your neighborhood. It's the person that gets the most properties sold at the highest price in the most efficient amount of time. And I will introduce you. I don't do it. I'll introduce you to the right people because I do vet them, check them, talk to them on a regular basis so that you can find out where the right solutions are for you, for your family. Now, I was sharing with you earlier about these automated reports that give you an idea of what the value of your property is. Think about this one. Zillow CEO Spencer Raskoff may have recently given real estate agents the gift they won't soon forget. Now, this is a gift. I talked to you about this before. Think about this. For salebyowner.com, at FSBO.com, their CEO went and sold his property. He used a real estate agent to sell his property, even though he started the website for Sale by Owner. Now, we see that the CEO of Zillow, Mr. Raskoff, sold his Seattle home for $1.05 million. $1.05 million. I just got through telling you that we are in a relatively hot real estate market. But he sold his house for $1.05 million. The Zestimate, the Zillow estimate of value, came in at $1.75 million. Just one day after he sold his property, it came in at 1.75. So 40% less, and that's from one day to the next. So if that can happen to the CEO of Zillow, what do you think that means for you? What do you think that means if you're the one that goes to Zillow and says, my property is worth X because of Zillow, and here we have the CEO of Zillow finding out that his property is worth 40% less than what he sells it for. So he sells it today, hypothetically, or he sold it yesterday, hypothetically, and today it shows up on there at 40% more than what he sold the home for. Missed by just a little bit. Now, in certain areas, the pricing is going to get a little bit better, but I'm going to share with you that the automated reports will not give you the same value or will not be as beneficial or valuable, the report itself. I'm not saying the property, but the automated report is not going to be as valuable to you as having a conversation with a real estate professional who's in the neighborhood and who understands the market. You got to understand these things, people. This is your biggest investment. It's your biggest asset, your biggest liability if you have a mortgage. And you're going to go with an automated system. Now, Zillow comes right out and says it, if you look deep in their website, that their Zestimate is meant to be a conversation starter. Well, when you're off by 40%, I would say it's a conversation ender. But that's just my personal opinion. I'd be real careful of that. And that's why I share with you all the time, text PAIR, P-E-A-R, to 79564. And one of the real estate professionals that we have talked to will reach out to you and find out more about your property. They might look at some of these estimates. They might look at the appraisals. They might look at a number of different automated valuation models. But then they're going to look and do some homework. They're going to look and see what's the market, what's the competition, what's happened previously, what do they see going forward, how much inventory is available, and then they can tell you what the valuation of your property is. Then they also look and say, okay, what do you owe on the property? That's going to give you the idea of what the equity is of the property. Because the equity is not the same as just the valuation. Gotta talk to people. This day and age is very interesting where we're at right now. Because we're getting to a society that doesn't want to talk. We want to text, we want to email, we want to do all these other things that are not talking. And talking is still the key. That's where you really get information. That's where you learn. Speaking of information and learning, 7th Annual Wise Guys Golf Tournament coming up May 30th, Tustin Ranch Golf Club. Great golf course over there. It's their 7th annual on Memorial Day, benefiting 2 great organizations. They're going to have some auction items there. Tustin's Children's Center for Blind and Baby Kennedy's Superhero Healthcare Fund. Those are the 2 organizations that this year will be the beneficiaries of this golf tournament. Again, it's a nonprofit. It's a fundraiser for the beneficiaries. Go out, have a good time, have a cocktail, being that it is Wine Appreciation Day today, and then make sure that whatever you do, you set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to all of our guests for checking in today. And a big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
In the middle of our street, our house.
XEPE 1700 AM, Bata Lipono.
You're listening to ESPN Radio 1700.